We're here in Stanford University with consultant, venture capitalist, and best-selling author, Geoffrey Moore. Geoffrey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here at the GSB, looking out the somewhat of a rainy window in your commodious studio here. Also looks like a study carrel, but very cool.
So yesterday evening, it was announced that MySpace just overtook Yahoo as the most visited site.
I saw that.
So I was curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, so if you think about Yahoo, Yahoo has been the gorilla, arguably, of the media model, of the classic media model on the web. Classic media model means that you have edited content, it's produced, it's informed. It's a hosting vehicle for brand advertising. It's all kinds of interesting things. It's not self-organizing, and it's not social. Now, Yahoo has some social properties, but one of the things about a social network is that it has to be anti-establishment to get started. So, by definition, the establishment cannot start an anti-establishment movement. And in fact, when the establishment buys up the anti-establishment property, that's the beginning of the end. I mean, because at some point it's like, I don't want to be associated with a commercialized vehicle, because the whole point of my exercising my freedom is to not be associated with that. So I think the zeitgeist moves on, and I think it's YouTube right now and it's MySpace right now, but 3 or 4 years from now, people can say that's not cool.
You think it'll change?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean they necessarily go away, but they're going to morph, because as anything goes from the fringe into the center, its properties change. There will be a market for those properties as they change, but it won't be the same market. And again, one of the worst things I think you can do is try to chase, be a granny in a miniskirt, right? I mean, you need to act your age, you need to be your role. And so it's not like the world does not need a Microsoft or a Yahoo or whatever. In fact, arguably, they need a more. You do have to morph, but you want to morph off of your own strength. You don't want to get, the thing that just drives a consultant crazy is competitor envy. Because competitor envy leads to the most losing behaviors. Now, Microsoft's kind of an interesting exception to that. Microsoft was always able to chase a competitor and run right up their tailpipe. But they were playing their game, which was a product game. For the first time, Microsoft's in a competitive environment where basically the environment's not playing a product game. And if Microsoft says, yeah, and a media game. Yeah. It says the software is a media. And Microsoft is many things, but it is not a media company of either ilk, either the produced media like Yahoo or the self-organizing media like YouTube or MySpace or whatever. It is a product company, and it needs to somehow stay true to that DNA, yet morph in relation to the environment. And figuring that out will challenge.
In this disruptive time, as a venture capitalist, what are you excited to see walk in your door?
Right. Well, so venture capitalists invest in categories first, not companies. And so the first thing you look at is category dynamics. So historically, venture capital made most of its money from enterprise computing of one form or another, starting with semiconductors that went into machines, that went into computers, and all the way up the line. In this decade, enterprise computing is kind of in a tar pit. It's sort of got the later generations of client-server architecture have massive integration challenges, and as you add more functionality to them and more variability to them, the integration challenges get worse. And so until it can translate to the next level of paradigm, which pretty much everybody gets, it's services-oriented something or other with software as a service and all these kinds of things, until we can kind of establish that next layer of abstraction, basically it's very hard for a CIO to invest in new things, because it's just this huge hairball. So in that model, the venture community said, look, we're going to be interested in enterprise, at some later date, but for right now, this was our sweet spot. This is where most venture returns came from, right? It's a mature sector. It looks more like steel and auto, not like, monopoly. So where's the energy going? Well, at Moore David Dow, we have 2 really exciting practices, which are kind of the 2 that are getting a lot of attention elsewhere as well, which are one around energy and alternative energies, and one around life sciences, specifically not drugs, but other investments in life sciences, and both of those have the potential to generate these these massive tornado market kinds of things. Venture is all about buying an option on a tornado, right? Some future mass adoption, and we're going to get into it before anybody else does. So in the computing space, the consumer has a bunch of these tornadoes, and the venture guys are playing the consumer game. But I have to tell you, there's no, the venture people don't have a lot of wisdom around this area, because I'm not sure there is any wisdom, but if there is any, we don't got it. I'm skeptical. I mean, there's a point where venture capital can be useful in any sort of hyper-growth market, even in a consumer self-organizing system. But the very properties of self-organizing, maverick, whatever, the whole stuff around brand, social identity, whatever, people on Sand Hill Road, I mean, that's just not their DNA. So we try to not screw it up. It's probably our best offer in a lot of those situations. We do know about building companies. We do know about, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff we do know. And as long as we realize what we don't know and don't mess with it, I think we can be useful. But it's not the same as building when you were building an enterprise company, it was real labor. You could apply rational analysis most of the way along the line. And there was some stuff with this chasm and tornado stuff was a little weird, but you could figure it out. Yeah. It's not clear that you can anticipate and figure out this other one. It's much more like, a bunch of spermatozoa heading out into the universe, and some's going to fertilize something. Who the hell knows what, right? Yeah. And so
that's funny in enterprise software, because of course, for investing in enterprise software, you were sort of like the customer. I mean, you look at Sand Hill Row, and you look at sort of, that tends to be, just the makeup of Sand Hill Row, or the type of people.
A lot of business people, and also there was this mediating priesthood called the IT community. So you could, if you got very, very knowledgeable about the IT community, and then reasonably knowledgeable about the business forces in the various vertical markets, you could build in fact, our consulting practice at TCG Advisors over the last 15 years has been about this. It's essentially been about crossing chasms a lot. Well, when you cross chasms, you get into that first vertical market. So you got to know the IT thing very well. You got to know the vertical market issue very well. But those are learnable phenomena. People will tell you about them, right? If you want to find the next, if you're a cool hunter, it's very hard to know how and where to hunt cool. And there are some people that purport to be good at that. None of them are on Sand Hill Road.